I am ready to do the actual intro for the video. Howdy, y'all. Joe Hills here, recording as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee. And today, on the 10th Orward Patreon server, we've got folks getting ready to do the Parade Float build contest. They are going to be starting their builds on the hour, roughly. So that's 1 minute from now. 1 minute to start time. And let's see. It looks like we are definitely live on Twitch. I'm confirming that we are also live on YouTube. We have a special guest with us today who is going to be helping me judge. His name is Manu Smith, aka MPT3K, Mystery Pinball Theater 3000. Manu, you want to say howdy to everybody?
Hey, everybody. It's always an honor to be here with insanely creative people who can do stuff that I can't.
I am always wowed by what people come up with here. It is truly a great joy of Minecraft and of streaming that so many people can come together and make such cool stuff. Whoa, I opened up your channel so I could link to it, and it is now playing the intro music. So let me mute that real quick. Sorry, everybody.
Yes, it's very loud.
It is very loud. Yay, professional streamer here. But yeah, we are now ready. You may now build. We are going to be building until 1 p.m. So this is a 1 hour build contest. The surrounding area here was constructed by Dottie Matrix. I believe Dottie had some help, though. Dottie, can you speak and tell us a little bit about the Theater Kids District?
Why, I absolutely can. Thank you, Joe. So, the Theater Kids District is a company town where the export is musical theater and the art of storytelling. I could not get this whole thing together myself. I had a lot of help putting this together in alphabetical order. The folks who helped me: Bear33, Centuritron, Chef Nutmeg, Desirefire 14, Gaia Eagle, Greyheart, Gritmonger, Kindleless, Lady Oolong, Magenta Avocado.
We're only now at the ends. We're only now halfway through the alphabet.
Mansua Maker, Quick Quail, Shawnard, Stellar Spider, Superstone, Technologic, Vinshoken, and Woodland Wizard all played their parts, and this would not be here without them.
It's fantastic stuff, Dottie. So can you tell us a little bit about what you said the main expert here is theater for this company town. When you thought theater, why is it you thought Broadway? Why not the West End? Or I'm sure China has some sort of theater district. Is New York near and dear to your heart for any particular reason?
New York is near and dear to my heart. I am a New Yorker myself, so this is very much my bread and butter. We are, however, on the west end of the server, because if I can use a pun, I'm going to go as hard as possible to do so.
Sure. Sure, and the so the world border is just over the little thing here. There.
The other side, but yes.
Yeah. Oh,
you're on
way.
the other side.
Gotcha.
Yep. I recommend taking a look at the outside of this giant box that we're in, because even this entire set is itself a set. All of these facades on the outside are painted onto 2x4s and plywood.
Mm-hmm.
As any good set would be. They're pretty tall. I think we're at about like Y130 is the top of that.
That seems about right. Yeah, I like how you've got the spray-painted stencil Theater Kids here.
That's thanks to Magenta Avocado.
Excellent. Well done, Dottie. Well done, Magenta, and everyone else who pitched in. One of the reasons I wanted to invite Manu to join us today is, Manu, you're a bit of a New Yorker as well, correct?
I'm a bit of a New Yorker until about 2003, and then I moved to the Bay Area in San Francisco.
Even so, though, I believe that the Broadway Theater District existed before this millennia. Now, I'm not a New York historian, but did you have a chance to visit Broadway while you still lived there and see any shows or any plays?
In fact, I did from about 1992 to 1995, 6, 7, 8. Something like that. I actually worked at the TKTS company. Well, not at the TKTS booth, but at the Theater Development Fund.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was was in this neighborhood every single day except weekends. And I worked up in the IT department, but there was the TKTS booth. We ran the TKT, or we run the TKTS booth, or we ran the TKTS booth, whatever,
Yeah.
to get discount tickets to people who couldn't really afford, $80, $90, $100 tickets. What the shows would do is if they can't sell a seat, empty seats in the theater are no good. Just like empty seats in an airplane, and it's no good to the company, right? So whenever they get to the point where they know they won't be able to sell certain seats, those seats will go up for a lottery at the on the mailing list of the Theater Development Fund, and then it will go out to people, and they would snatch them up quickly. And sometimes they would be really good seats, and sometimes it would be nosebleeds. But I got to see a lot of shows. I got to see shows in rehearsals too, which was kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I was kind of thrust into the theater world, even though I wasn't like, it wasn't my jam, but eventually it became my jam. Does that make sense?
It does. Well, and that's great that even though you were working in IT, I'm assuming that's how you got into this. You were looking for an IT job rather than a theater job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I had just moved from a company called Digital Resources, which did CAD CAM stuff. And oddly enough, I met my boss at Theater Development Fund in a Doom contest.
Oh, that's fun. Was that like at a convention or like a big LAN party or something?
It was id Software's release party in the I forget where it was. It was in the city. The Doom, id Software, John Carmack, John Romero, they're all there, and they had a contest of had 4 players per game. And it was just a release party, but it was like, let's go. So I went down there with my buddy Il Robinson, and we kind of hung out. And then I played in the tournament against 3 other people. I decimated them.
Nice. Well done.
And then Eric, who was my boss, who wasn't my boss at the time at Theater Development Fund, he comes up to me and goes, "Hey, what's that?" And I go, "It's my Doom Award." Because they gave you, I still have it to this day. They give you little like trophies.
Oh, nice.
And he goes, but he looks at me and goes, "Oh, that's cool. I'll be right back." And he goes away. He comes back like 10 minutes later with one in his hand. And he's like, "I got one too. Can I get your email?" I go, "Sure." And then later he emailed me about getting a job. So Doom got me my first job.
Fantastic. And people say video games are a waste of time. They can open a whole new world to you. That's amazing. I've posted follow Manu Smith at twitch.tv/mpt3k. Now, Manu is a bit of a showman himself. Him and his pal Surreal7 put on a fantastic show every Friday night. If you've seen Mystery Science Theater 3000 with those lovable robots and that stranded astronaut cracking jokes watching films, this is kind of the same, except we get to be the robots and the stranded astronaut. The viewers in the chat get to participate, making riffs, voting on whose riffs are funniest. It's a great time. I've been a guest on the show, and I've enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm going to be rejoining Manu sometime in mid-July for my birthday. We haven't exactly locked all the details down on that yet, but keep an eye out. I'll be posting about that on my Blue Sky. Manu, are you using...
You don't know what the movie is going to be, do you?
You're
picking it.
I know I'm picking it, and the thing is, I'm kind of... Let's workshop this now, because just as a note for the viewers joining us, this Parade Float Build Contest is an hour long. Everybody has known the theme for about a year. We have like an annual calendar of themes and float contests and stuff. So this is kind of like Mardi Gras, where everybody builds their floats all year and then comes out and presents them. So folks today have had the opportunity to prepare this stuff in advance, but it has to be something they can build in an hour on the street here. So we started with an empty street. Some people are improvising their floats. Some people were late editions. Some people had them planned for a year. We're going to see all sorts of great stuff today. But while they build, we're going to have quite a few digressions. And one of those digressions is I do need to brainstorm with Manu what movie to pick for my birthday. Because the movie that I've wanted to do on the show for years is a movie called 29th Street. but it's a Christmas movie and it's July. And
Okay,
so
that's okay. That's fine.
so I'm
That's
kind
better.
I'm kind of willing to open up. So this is one of those movies that's it dares to ask like what if Neil Breen was good? Right? Like it was made a long time ago by 20th Century Fox. And Manu, were you I don't know if you were old enough to remember when the New York State Lottery first launched. My parents are a little older than you, and they remember seeing on TV that Frank Pesh was the first winner of the New York State Lottery, but he had disappeared from the building when his name was called. Did you were you old
No,
enough to remember that on TV? Okay,
I,
so
not first launched. No.
this movie was written by Frank Pesh, and it's about how he was born lucky. Like all his life, he basically had monkey's paw good luck, where something bad would happen and then it would turn out to be good. But like he's constantly miserable because bad stuff keeps happening to him, right?
Right.
And it keeps turning out to be good. And so anyway, though, um, in the first New York State Lottery, they had like a first round, and then they announced like 40 finalists or something that were invited to a drawing at Madison Square Garden. And he was one of the 40 finalists. And so all these mob guys in the neighborhood wanted to buy his ticket from him because they were like convinced like, oh, this guy's got that luck. This is going to be the winning ticket, you know. And so it's the thing I keep coming back to is it's even though it's like kind of a vanity piece, like along the lines of some of these things that we make fun of, it's actually pretty well written, and it's actually pretty funny. Like I'm worried it's too funny and too good. So I'm
It's
trying
a
to
Christmas movie?
well, because the drawing was on Christmas Eve.
Oh.
So so yeah, so it's kind of a Christmas movie, but it's basically
It's a Christmas movie like Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
yeah, it's a weird one. It's you know, it opens with him throwing rocks at a church and getting arrested, and the cops
opening.
being like, "What the hell are you doing?" You know, and they see on the TV the announcement that Frank Pesh has won the New York State Lottery and is missing from Madison Square Garden, and they're like, "Wait, that's you? What the hell?" And he was like, "Well, okay, let me tell you the story." And it rolls back to literally his birth. It's one of those. It actually, in some ways, if you've seen the Man Who Saved Pinball, it has a lot in
Yes,
common
of
with
course.
that, where the cops
Does
are
it
just
really?
well, 'cause in the fact like the cops are like trying to like all they want to know is why were you throwing rocks at this freaking church on Christmas Eve?
Right.
You some kind of atheist, you know, that sort of thing.
I,
Um,
I finally got to it on IMDb right now, and it is let's see if it's good. It's a little high, Joe. It's a 7.2 out of 10.
that's what I'm saying is I think this movie is too good for the Riff Theater. I think
I don't
people would end
know.
up watching it rather than riffing
got-
on it.
It's
So
got Danny Aiello. No. I think it's okay. It's
I think we should workshop it. I think we should we should probably try and find something else.
oh.
But, yeah.
I'm gonna put it in the Discord for people to vote on it, though. I'm gonna throw it over to Ping, my librarian. He's gonna.
Yeah, Gritmonger says
He's
we
gonna-
riffed Brave Little Toaster. Yeah, that one's also like the thing is though, at least that one has like kids movie logic that you can make fun of.
Oh my God, he remembers riffing Brave Little Toaster.
I mean,
That was like a Sunday one time.
there is a lot. I mean, I've pretty aggressively driven my audience to your show. A lot of people here have seen Mystery
we've-
Pinball Theater.
I thank you immensely for that too, because the variety of personalities makes everything fun for me and surreal, and that's no joke. Like the setting up of everything takes forever, and the getting everything technically working takes forever. But when we hit start, and I just sit back and watch people be insanely funny. It makes me smile every time, every single time.
Well, I gotta thank you for putting on, in my opinion, one of the best streams on Twitch. Like, I am not joking when I say, like, it is a technical accomplishment what you and Surreal have coded in order to have so much viewer interaction. And it's not just technically impressive, it's fun. You know, I was always thinking when I would do my streams, like, man, I wish there was an after party. You know, I would watch Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, and, like, you know, they would do their Saturday Night Live kind of thing, and then they all go to a party afterwards. And, like, especially,
Yeah.
like, during the pandemic, on Friday night, I'd finish my stream, and my kid's already asleep, so I can't leave the house. And I would just kind of be like, man, I feel like I should be at a party.
Yeah, I know.
This sucks. And so then you having this great, fun community event every Friday night that I could raid, I was like, this is the after party I didn't know to ask for. This is the best thing. And yeah, unfortunately, my schedule has changed a little bit, so I haven't been able to make it as much recently. But yeah, it was a huge highlight for me personally, and I was glad to share it with as many people as I could.
Thank you. The strange thing about it is it came around kind of by accident, and it's quite literally buried on Friday to kind of be a secret, and it's still that way because it's what 8 p.m. Pacific Friday, which is
it's super
what,
late
12?
for the yeah, it's late for us here in Tennessee, and it's even later for the East Coast.
Yeah, I fear that if I ever pull it into a different time zone, that we're gonna get dinged for something.
Oh, I will say there were some moments during the recent charity event that we did up in Seattle where we were like a little bit unsure if certain things were going to be a problem with the Twitch terms of service.
During your stream?
It was like a big group event where we were like having people like eat spicy food and all this other stuff, and it's like some of this stuff is kind of close to the line of like what you can and can't do. Are we gonna do we need to worry about that? And luckily we had a lot of people there, and one of them had some insider information. It was like, actually, because of the recent layoffs, they're not really doing much moderation of stream content on the weekends right now. Like, they just don't have the staff for it. If we were doing
Do they have to have staff for that?
well, you know, for like dealing with reports and stuff like that, like, you know, if a channel is doing some sort of TOS violation, if it's not the sort, now, I mean, there's a big difference between you're showing Batman Begins, which is like they can digitally check that, versus like, are these people hurting themselves by eating the spicy food or something? You know, is a little. It's more judgment call type stuff. You know, there's nobody.
Are you allowed to drink alcohol on Twitch?
I
No.
don't know. I think it depends on the rating of the stream. Like, that's another thing too, because like I was, you know, just yesterday, I actually was hanging out with Pez Johnson in Memphis at Flipside, which is
Pez.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Oh, it was really fun too, because it was an 11-round qualifier for the event, and on round 6, whoever got first on their game, so there were like 13 groups, 4 people per group. Whoever got first on their game in their group would win a little Pez dispenser. And like normally, you know, everybody's very chill when they walk to the machine, like, okay, good luck, do your best, you know, good luck. But this time it's like, I'm winning that Pez dispenser. Like, everybody's, it's like, it just, the tone just, it was like flipping a switch. But you know, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, you know, I realized like, oh, this is being filmed at a bar, even though the commentators and stuff aren't like drinking. Like, you can literally see somebody pouring margaritas behind the bar is directly behind the commentators. You know, it is clearly in a bar. There are clearly people consuming alcohol. But yeah. So
yeah, I don't know, maybe that's an old wives' tale or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the deal is. And like the thing is that there's a lot of stuff that's changed over time. People are saying that like, yeah, there's a lot of specific rules about whether or not you can do things like drinking. It's like, yes, you can drink, but you can't have it tied to like, oh, I'll do a shot if somebody tips me or whatever. Like,
Oh yeah, that would be no, that would be
yeah.
bad.
But so anyway, because like some of the stuff we were doing was tied to donations to the charity, even though we weren't drinking any alcohol, there was some concern like, are these reward tiers going to run afoul of some obscure rule or whatever? And it's like, as long as we're not doing anything blatantly bad, nobody's going to care on a weekend. But
Well, and it's the whole like. So for me, it's the whole like, are we transformative enough to be okay with what we're doing? And I'm not sure we are. But that's why when we, I'll be honest, I'm not sure we are. But when we do watch a movie, a lot of times it's edited because I have to remove.
yeah,
You know,
you have to remove certain things to stay within Twitch's TOS. Otherwise,
like I don't want to blatantly just blow my channel up.
yeah.
And the other thing is we only watch it 20 minutes at a time. And I have made it so that the words obscure the movie and we have sound effects and surreal plays the craziest stuff
Yeah.
from other things. And there's so much that I threw in the way of the movie that I always tell people, look, if you came here to watch this movie, you came to the wrong place. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking like this is the back to the brainstorming like possible ideas. These are not the movies I'm saying we should watch, but like the sort of thing, something in this lane, you know. Maybe something with people that are like well known and really likable, but like it was a role where the director screwed them. You know, like Robin Williams when he played Popeye was constantly told not to improvise.
Is that true?
Oh yeah. And so there's like Robin Williams playing a grumpy sailor, but he's legitimately angry the entire time because they're on their 50th take because he's not allowed to change the line and the line as written is stupid. Like, you know, that sort of thing.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
People are saying, is there a way to join the contest? So this is only open to people who are already members of the Patreon. Even if you signed up for the Patreon today, I send out the invites in a batch once per day, and I'm not going to be sending them out in the middle of the stream. But future build contests you'd be able to participate in. $5 a month gets you access to my Patreon Discord. $10 a month gets you access to the Patreon Minecraft server. Also, during this stream, we're doing rotational tips. I'll rotate the camera $1 degree angular for every dollar that rolls in. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. We started precisely on the hour, and we are 21 minutes into the hour, so that means 39 minutes remain for building. But yeah, like, so something where you can like feel the pain of the actors, you know.
Well, I think we kind of watched a few of those. Like I remember Cool Cat Saves the Day or Saves the Kids. And that I mean, you're talking about like when you say Robin Williams, you're talking about A grade, but these are like B grade. This is like Vivica A. Fox and what's his name from Chips? I forgot. Eric Estrada.
Oh, he's great. Yeah, he was in Aqua Teen Hunger. No, not Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Sea Lab 2021.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's movies. And we just watched Oogie Loves Adventures in something with the balloons or something, and that had like Priscilla Presley's daughter. I forget what her name is. Gosh. And what's his name from Back to the Future? Not Marty, but Doc.
Oh.
Quick chat. What's the name?
He was
It's
also
early for me.
in the Addams Family. He played Lester, and they
Yeah.
couldn't get his likeness rights for the pinball machine.
Right. How can I forget this guy?
I know Christopher Lloyd. I know everything about this guy except his name. I'm like, man, I could tell you about all these different contract negotiations he was in. I could tell you everything.
Oh, and Joe, and Cloris Leachman was in it too. Like,
Okay.
this was Oogie Loves was like the people who made the those weird the what do they call it, the testables test I don't want to say the wrong word.
I don't know.
The kids show with the people who dress up as terrible at this. I
Yeah,
have one
I have
job,
no
Joe.
idea what this.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we've seen movies that have like big stars in them, and we're wondering like how,
Yeah.
like literally they're firing their agents right now. Oh, and also Toni Braxton was in this movie,
Mhm.
and she was terrible.
You know what movie I there's some movies that are like making fun of themselves also. But like they're so full of like bad choices that are like
Yeah.
intentionally bad. Have you seen Malignant?
No,
Oh,
let me look it up.
it's made by the guy who made Saw and also
Oh my God, no.
this other huge franchise. He basically made $3 billion between two franchises, and went to the studio and said, "I have a silly idea for a very expensive horror movie, and you're gonna pay for it, or I'm gonna take it somewhere else, and then when I have my next $1.5 billion franchise, I'm gonna bring it to them."
That's a
And
baller move right there.
yeah. And so this was like his blank check movie. This was his Jodorowsky's Dune.
Yeah,
And
right.
so Malignant is not a good horror movie, but it
Yeah.
is made by somebody who has made some of the most brilliant horror movies ever. And this is just him being like, oh man, I'm just going to go nuts with this. And so,
He
like,
did The Conjuring also.
yeah, The Conjuring, that was his other big series. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like for example, there's an early shot where when the first body is discovered, you hear sirens and the camera pans, and there's just like 100 helicopters, and the streets are jammed as far as you can see with cop cars and ambulances and fire trucks, like people running every like, just a massive, like a disproportionate response to one corpse being discovered in a suspicious way. You know what? You know, and the whole movie is just dumb, kind of not exactly that way, but in different ways the whole time.
Right.
Uh, but once again, because it's so self-aware, like I feel like a lot of people wouldn't go watch it if they just saw the trailer, because that was the other thing, is the trailer for it, at least the original trailer I saw, like played it completely deadpan. Like it,
I
it,
see.
it
I'm
just
watching the
looked,
trailer now.
it just
I
looked like
mean,
a horror movie.
yeah, without sound. I'm watching it on IMDb, and it just looks like
Yeah, but like, and the thing is though, as you're watching it, you're just like it's like if somebody wanted to make it's like if somebody made Airplane or Top Secret, but like just dialed it back enough that you're not sure if they did it on purpose. Right? It's like right on the line, but like intentionally so, where there'll be like the shot with all the cop cars, but then everything else is just like normal for a little bit, and then something
yeah.
else like really over the top happens, and it looks like somebody just like gave one of their employees unclear instructions and they used the shot anyway. You know what I mean? It looks like a poorly directed film in some ways. But once again, because it's so intentional, it might not be a good choice for the Rift Theater. Um,
It also kind of violates one rule that Ping helped,
mhm.
and I agreed with like 150%. You know, Ping the Net is a very huge part of my stream now.
Oh yeah, Ping the Net
Um,
is a somebody that we raid all the time. He's got that fantastic backyard nature cam.
yes,
So some of my
yes.
viewers might be familiar with him from those raids.
I actually got to hang out with him too at Surreal's house this year.
Oh, awesome.
He and his wife, they're super awesome. But we came up with the idea that there should not be a riff of a movie that is within the last like 7 years.
Mm.
A couple of reasons why is number one, well, the obvious, right? There's an obvious reason for why.
Copyright is like they're more
Copyright.
likely to go after you.
But the one of the other ones is like, if it's a movie that they can actually go and find and watch and not, and the revenue is not go to, it's in the air where this money goes anyway.
Yeah.
But we figure, it's safe enough. There's enough garbage 7 years ago.
Yeah.
That we don't have to cherry pick movies that are that recent. So, yeah. I think that puts us also in a nice sweet spot of really bad movies because 90s movies, whew,
Yeah. So I was like, I had one suggestion that I don't know if this. I feel like this is probably a poor choice too, but like I'm kind of throwing out some of the choices that are right on the edge to kind of feel out the space, right? Have you heard of Sadako versus Kayako?
I love you. I don't know any of these movies.
Okay,
I can't even spell that. How do you?
okay. So have you seen Ringu, or which was Americanized as The Ring, or
Oh,
Ju-on, which was Americanized as The Grudge?
right. No, Joe, I don't watch scary movies ever.
Okay. So basically, this film is about. So in The Ring, the basic demon rules or ghost rules are, if you watch this video, this ghost of this ghost girl, your phone
Right.
will ring and you'll hear a voice that says 7 days, and then exactly 7 days later you'll drop dead no matter where you are. And in the film
Okay.
series The Grudge, if you trespass into this ghost lady's house, she'll hunt you down and kill you. And so the directors of these two films thought it would be funny to make an April Fool's trailer of a movie where somebody trespasses in the house and watches the video. And so the ghosts are fighting over the soul of that person. And this fake trailer that they made as like a gag was so well received that they
They made
actually
the
got
movie.
funding to make this movie. And
Sounds
so
like Alien versus Predator.
yeah, but like it's kind of like if Alien versus Predator was a joke, right?
Right.
Like if and so it kind of pokes holes or makes or pokes fun at like both of the conceits of the original movies. It has to re-explain the rules of both movies' ghosts as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
Yeah.
like a modern remake of the first Ring movie and the first uh, uh, Grudge movie, or Ju-on and Ringu. So it basically speed runs the first movies of each series, mashes them together, and
See, I want to watch this
it
now.
gets weird. And the thing is, like, I feel like even though it's kind of intended to be funny, because it's a foreign film, and like they made this with like very little budget. Like this, they did
Oh
get
wow.
money to make it, but like this was not, this was a bonus film for them. There was definitely a lot of cost cutting and choices made. It's not going to look like Neil Breen cheap or anything, but it definitely is. It doesn't have some of the polish that their other films would, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm with Totem. I want to watch this.
Okay. Yeah. So that was one I was going to suggest. That I personally, but once again, it's not necessarily a bad movie, but it wasn't trying to be a great movie either. Like they knew what they were making. And whereas
Yeah.
like with The Room or with the Neil Breen movies, it's unclear how intentional
Yeah.
like Tommy Wiseau now claims like, "Oh yeah, I was always trying to make it funny."
I
But
don't think
like
so.
I don't think so. Neil Breen, I've seen he had a DVD set with like a master class of like him teaching his film techniques. And one of the reasons that people suspect that he's doing the whole thing as a joke. Well, he's got two reasons. One, everybody who's ever been in any of his movies has to sign a really strict NDA. And so nobody who's been in any of his movies have talked about the experience. It's not like with The Room where we have like the guy who played Mark writing a book, and talking about it.
Right.
So for one thing, we have no idea what actually goes on set. Two, in the chapter of his DVD where he teaches you how to be a filmmaker about cinematography and like how every shot should communicate something, where you position the camera, how you light, these all explain to the viewer what's going on. And the whole time he's giving this monologue about the importance of framing a shot and how important it is that a shot communicates important things to the viewer. The
Yeah.
camera, like the tripod, is not like tightened, and it's just slowly drooping until it's pointed directly at his crotch.
Now,
And so
that sounds intentional, though.
that seems kind of like he's saying like everything I do is like this. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
that's why I'm not sure if Neil Breen is actually one of the most bizarre comedians of our time. I don't know. But yeah. But anyway, yeah, so Sadako versus Kayako, they're not trying to make a bad movie. They just know they're not making a great film. But yeah. Other movies that I would love to watch again. Oh, you know what might be good? Is Warren Beatty's Heaven Can Wait.
I remember that.
It's
Yeah.
shockingly prescient. Like, the main character is supposed to be this, like, health nut hippie, but almost everything he does is now basically just common sense. You know, it's bizarre how, like, you know, it's like, oh, he doesn't like smoking. You know,
Yeah.
oh, he thinks it's good to get exercise every day. Like, every day? Really?
I remember that movie when that movie came out, and the movie poster was Warren Beatty, like with wings.
Yeah, with the
I thought it was the
sweatsuit.
coolest poster.
That movie is actually legitimately funny and holds up. That's the only thing the reason I think it's riffable is because, like I said, I think a lot of the gags were supposed to be, look at how dumb this hippie is.
Yeah.
But now it's just like, this guy was actually right about a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And so there is some like riffable humor there where it's funny in ways other than the director intended.
It says a Los Angeles Rams quarterback accidentally taken away from his body by an over anxious angel before he was meant to die returns to life in the body of a recently murdered millionaire. What? Who's pitching this?
Well, so this is actually a remake. There was a film in the 40s
Oh.
about a boxer that was based on a play. This was a very successful play. And so the other funny thing about this is that, like, with the rise of the billionaire class that we've seen recently, like, a lot of the stuff that they poke fun at, like, okay, he's a fish out of water in this rich guy's body, he's got like a helicopter and all this stuff, like, it's accidentally better social commentary than it was at the time. Which and so, like, the thing about that movie is, even though they were trying to make a good movie, they accidentally made a prescient movie, which is riffable because they're accidentally good at what they're doing in an interesting way, I think, if that makes any sense.
1978.
Mm-hmm.
The world was a hugely different place. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a huge jump forward in time. Like, almost 50 years ago this film was made, and it was supposed to be a modernization of an old story. And so they went
Wow.
out of their way to make it feel like extra 70s, but a lot of the choices they made ended, like, they were trying to make fun of stuff that was completely bleeding edge at the time, but they
Right.
randomly picked a lot of the things that ended up making it and persisting through today. And
Wow. I'm throwing this into Discord right now.
so I feel like that's one, like, if it's my birthday, I wouldn't mind watching Heaven Can Wait.
I wouldn't mind watching Heaven Can Wait either. Surprisingly enough, I didn't. You know, I was a child. I wasn't interested in. I went to see Star Wars. I didn't want to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things, like, it's yeah, when I watched it for the first time with my dad, I was like, what is this? You know, he's like, it's pretty funny. You'll like it. Because, like, I watched it when I was in cross country. I was running a lot, and my dad's like, you'll like it because, you know, the guy's in training and he takes it far too seriously. But, like, you know, okay, I'll give it a try. I was like, that's actually pretty funny. And then I watched it again
Yeah.
as an adult, and I was like, this is way better than I realized. Like,
Oh wow. See, that's what I love about, you know, finding. I've never really. It's just like the way I was thrown into theater,
mm-hmm.
and I literally mean thrown in, like like Manu, we have tickets available for, I could name something. So what was something that was like, it was some big Broadway show that everyone should see. Like I don't remember, but at the
Cats or something.
time, huh?
Like Cats. It would have been that
Something like
era in the
cat.
90s.
Well, yeah. Actually, I avoided Cats,
Okay.
even though it was running forever and ever.
Yeah.
One day I just decided, all right, I'll give it a shot. Okay, well, grab your tickets and go down at after work. And I was like, wow, these shows are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So being thrown into the theater like that was like really, it was something like Guys and Dolls. Yes, it was something like Guys. I think it was literally Guys and Dolls.
That's very fortunate.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah, because I was
I'm
like, Phantom might have been later, but Guys and Dolls, maybe? Okay.
There was no way a kid from Crown Heights, Brooklyn was going to be interested in going to Manhattan to see Guys and Dolls.
Yeah. Well,
But
because when you live in Brooklyn, like, how far away does Manhattan feel? Like, in terms of, like,
it's far,
yeah.
especially because you got to take the subway. You could take a bus, but that's insane. You'd get there. You'd take you forever to get there on a bus. But yeah. Anyway, I was like, okay, I'll go see Guys and Dolls. And me and my girlfriend at the time, we sat in the nosebleed section because it was discount tickets.
Sure.
Had the time of our lives. We were like, this is awesome. I went to see Chicago, and also was like, this is really cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's the same way with the movies, though, where I never really watched movies. I was not a big movie fan. And, in the beginning of Mystery Pinball Theater, it was a struggle to find a movie because I was just trying to relate them to pinball. And then eventually people started saying, hey, have you seen this? Have you seen this? And that's when it got fun.
Yeah. Well, because there's always so many things, like, people haven't gotten, like there's so many films, there's so many TV shows, so many novels. Like, I'm trying to get better, like, when I read a good book or see a really good movie, about writing it up and posting it on my website and Tumblr and just getting, like,
And sharing it.
yeah, and then with the
Yeah.
idea being that, like, when I have a few of those, like, every year around Christmas, people will be popping in my stream and being like, Joe, I don't know what kind of books to buy my dad for Christmas. He likes books, and I know you like reading. What should I get him? I want to be able to be like, okay, here is 12 book reviews of different types of books, different series, depending on what he likes, and I say in each of these, here, if you like this sort of thing, here's what you'd like this, that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, it's wild how many films are made, like, all the time that just go under the radar. I saw this one, The King Tide, that was made on this island out in Newfoundland, and it's not a very high budget movie. It's labeled horror, but it's more like it's almost more like a supernatural drama, where, like, this baby washes up on the island, and
Oh my God.
being near her will cure you if you're around her for like 15 minutes. If you have any medical problems, they'll just get cured. And if you have, like, long-term problems like dementia or whatever, it'll fix you for a little while, but then you have to come back or it'll reassert itself, right? And so, like, it's about, like, the island, like, cutting themselves off from civilization because they don't want the baby taken. And
Wow.
and like how this society evolves over time. Like, there's some time skips in there, and it's a very low budget movie. There's like almost no special effects. It's just almost all people on this island.
Tell story.
But
Yeah.
it's a great story, and, like, I randomly saw it because some YouTubers were like, "Yeah, I saw this recommended on some random thing." And I looked at how many reviews it had, and it was like none. But it seemed like a cool premise, so I watched it anyway, and it's like one of the best movies I've seen this year. It hasn't really screened anywhere. Nobody's reviewed it, but, like, it's just like available for streaming. You can buy it on iTunes, but how are you supposed to find this? Like, it's literally my job to go hunt for these rare things, and this is like the most the obscurity to quality ratio on this film is the highest I've ever seen. You know, and so yeah, I picked it up because I was like, oh, I've got a friend who lives in Newfoundland, and it'd be fun to like see what the islands look like and stuff out there, and because like my friend has talked about like living out there, but like visualizing it is hard. So like, okay, let me watch a movie set on one of these islands. And I'm like, this is a really good movie, but like unfortunately, because it's actually like a pretty serious drama, that would be a terrible choice for the Riff Theater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like people
yeah.
find this stuff somehow.
It's I'm going to sound like the old guy right now, but today with streaming services and non kind of centralized viewing experiences, it's really difficult to come across good stuff. Where back in the days we had less choice, right? We had the major networks and a few local networks, but for the most part, we all shared the same experience of like when that Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark ad came on TV. You knew millions and millions and millions of people saw it because that was their only option, was watch television. Since all that's kind of gone, there's still great stories. It's just extremely difficult to find them. So I rely on people's suggestion. I don't watch anything on Netflix or anything unless someone suggests it. My buddy at Frigo Watch, who I work for, suggested Love on the Spectrum. He said, have you seen this, Joe?
No.
Okay, it's kind of like a dating show for people with autism.
Okay.
But it was originally an Australian series, and they brought it to the States. And the creators were kind of like tired of competitive dating shows like The Bachelor and stuff like that, and they wanted to showcase autistic people with autism as being still struggling just like the rest of us to find love. And it is a fascinating, highly recommended, beautiful series. It's like three seasons that I highly recommend. And I watched it, I was hooked. But that was only because someone told me. I would not even known it was there if I, looked on the front page of Netflix and there's 1,000, things.
Oh yeah. And like, even when I see something I recognize, a lot of times it's a big push for me to actually go watch it.
Yeah,
like
it's a big push.
So like, for example, I really enjoyed Isaac Asimov's Foundation novels back.
Foundation. Yes, I think I got 4 books in. Did you read the one prior to Foundation?
Well, I was gonna
What's it
get
called?
to that.
Okay.
So Apple recently put out an Apple TV show about Foundation, and I was not gonna watch it because I was like, I'm sure they're gonna screw it up somehow. But one of my favorite actors, Jared Harris, is playing Harry Seldon, and the guy who comes up with the psychomathematics or whatever, psychohistory. And so I was like, well, I'm curious to see how he plays this. And I started watching it. I'm like, this is legitimately really good. But
Is it really good?
It's the thing that took me a while to. The biggest thing that bothered me was I didn't like some of how they portrayed or how they wrote Harry Seldon. And I was like, I don't know. I really like Jared Harris as an actor, but I'm not sure about...
Wait, Jared Harris, was he in Mad Men?
He was in Mad Men. He was the guy who, had the Jaguar and tried to tailpipe himself, but then the car wouldn't start. So it just cuts to him dragging out this huge duffel bag full of tools. So the...
Foundation.
Yeah, so Foundation is pretty good. But the thing that bothered me about it was I was like, I don't like how somehow they wrote Harry Seldon. Well, let me see. You know what? I never read the prequel books. And I didn't realize how different. So Asimov, when he wrote the first books, for everybody who hasn't seen Foundation, Harry Seldon is this guy that basically shows up in the first like chapter in like the prologue almost, and then after that, there's just a recording of him, and each chapter starts with like an encyclopedia entry talking about Harry Seldon foresaw this and set these things in motion, and it sets him up like he's the most brilliant guy ever. And Asimov got really annoyed by fans at conventions being like, "Oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. We need this in real life." Like, it was kind of one of those like the people were way too into it. So he wrote these prequel stories about how Harry Seldon actually invented this mathematical principle and how all this stuff came to be. And it's basically just he is a fool who keeps failing upward.
Exactly.
And like he keeps surrounding himself with the right people who are really good at working together. And like he ends up getting all the credit because he's the one that like actually connected them by failing upward or whatever. But like I think the most extreme example of this is there is one chapter where they're like, we know almost nothing about this settlement or its government structure, though we do know the name of one of its leaders, so and so, who is credited with giving Harry Seldon inspiration for this element of his future work. Or for giving him advice that led to the development of this element of his future work. And then you actually get to the chapter, and like Harry Seldon is like trudging down the road because he's like halfway frozen to death, and the leader of the settlement yells out the window of his truck, "Stop being a moron and people will treat you better," or something like that. It drives off. And you see the contrast between like the myth and the man. And
I got into those books a long time ago, but I remember, so Foundation was 1951, but Prelude was written in 88.
Yeah, so it's like 30 something years later.
But you know what, Joe? I got into it weird. I started it from Prelude.
Oh. So you actually already knew that Harry Seldon was kind of a screw up who kept failing upward. Yeah.
It's almost like starting the Star Wars series from
Episode 1.
Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a good series. But the show, or the movie, or whatever, was it any good? Oh, you said it was good.
The show is actually really good. Yeah, so that would be one I would recommend. But yeah, let's see. Just as a reminder, guys, we got 9 minutes remain. So I need to type 9-minute warning. Although, I'm sure by the time that I do that, it'll be 8 minutes. But what? We are stopping once my clock says 1 p.m. So, and then we'll have folks present us their builds, and then Manu and I will jump into a different chat real quick for judging. We'll put on some in-game music so the VOD doesn't get taken down here. Just as a reminder, before we start judging, $5 a month gets you on my Patreon Discord. $10 a month gets you access to the Minecraft servers. Also, this is a viewer-supported stream via tips as well. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Each dollar we receive in tips will rotate the camera 1 degree angular. These streams are never big tip streams because I know folks are really more here to celebrate the builds, but it is an option available to you. Okay. Yeah, in terms of other films that like I would kind of want to do for the Rift Theater, like it feels like something like Paddington 2 is almost it's almost like it's making fun of Wes Anderson the whole time. So I feel like there's something there, but it's too recent and probably too good to actually
Paddington?
Have you seen Paddington 2?
No.
I happened to watch it one day because my kid was watching it. And it was one of those things where I'm like, wait, this is actually really good. It's basically a bunch of it is shot like somebody is trying to out Wes Anderson. Like it's like a parody of a Wes Anderson film where they took his style and turned it up to 11. Yeah, or like it's a pastiche or something almost like.
Right. Yeah. Pastiche. Yeah.
And it's bizarre, but like at the point where it's like, okay, well, we got to make a movie about this bear. Okay, well, at that point, like kids are gonna watch it as long as the bear is in it, right? Like, this movie can literally be about anything, right? You know, and so
It's
it's
funny. Hugh Grant is in that.
yeah,
In
Hugh
that.
Grant is in it. He's
Yeah.
really good in that. Oh, another Hugh Grant movie I saw recently. This one's too good for the Rift Theater. Is called Heretic. And
Heretic. Is that based on the video game?
no, it's the premise is that this guy has invited this guy played by Hugh Grant has invited these two Mormon missionaries into his home to tell him about the church, and it becomes pretty clear that he's not mentally stable. And one of the gimmicks of it is that it's Hugh Grant doing his bumbling, lovable romantic interest routine as he's having this conversation with these young missionaries that is supposed to make him feel very friendly and approachable, but like from his actions and like the fact that the door locked behind them and they can't get out, like it's like it's just increasingly sinister over time.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it's I think it's one of those films that has like 3 or 4 actors in it. It's a very small cast because it's like, you know, a locked room type scenario where, you know, he's invited them in to talk about their church and he's just, you know, going off with his religious theories, and it's just like, are we safe? Is this
I, I love movies where actors get to be actors.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and that's it. I mean, I love sci-fi. Don't get me wrong, but that's why I was always intrigued with a lot of Quentin Tarantino, believe it or not, because actors get to be actors. I mean, you know, fight me, but you know, the opening scene in Pulp Fiction where they just get to really be actors, and they're basically on a set. You know, Samuel Jackson, John Travolta, and all those guys in the room, they're basically on a set.
Is the opening scene where they're in the diner, or am I thinking of Reservoir Dogs?
The opening scene in Pulp Fiction, if I'm not mistaken, is when they go to get the soup, the briefcase, and
Yeah.
they're John Travolta and Samuel Jackson are talking in the car, and then they're talking on the way there, and then they get to the door and they go, "Okay, wait a minute, not time yet." So they walk down the hallway and they talk about Mia Wallace, and it's just this amazing dialogue that Quentin seems to be able to nail down, and just do, and then go nuts with whatever. Quarter pounder with cheese.
Yeah, I've been
Royale with
playing the
cheese.
pinball machine of Pulp Fiction a lot more lately, and so like I have a bunch of the scenes in my head because I saw the movie,
Yeah.
and like,
Yeah.
but like it's all jumbled up because in the pinball machine there's no sequence, right? You're
Yeah,
just,
there's no sequence.
everything's just all over the place. But yeah, I saw that movie probably when I was in college, and then again maybe a decade ago. But yeah, it's hard for
mean-
me to like rewatch stuff because
Yeah.
there's so little time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like when actors get to just when they let really great actors just open up and be actors, and the scenes are nice and long. You know, that's why I always appreciate a lot of, you know, this is cliche, but Steven Spielberg, you know, we could talk about the scene in Indy. Well, Spielberg is amazing because he can block a scene like you wouldn't believe. But just when Marcus comes over to Indy's house to talk to him about this lost ark, and it's a oneer. It's the whole scene, not the whole scene, but a good like majority of the scene is a oneer, which is where they don't cut. They just roll, and the actors are hitting their marks and moving, and you just feel like you're part of that. See, that's the thing that I love when there's no set, you know, there's no effects. You know, even think about something like a movie like Jurassic Park that has a ton of, you know, at the time groundbreaking effects, but you get Goldthwait in the room, you get them, and they're just amazing. Just, you know, that's what I love.
Folks are asking, what theater floats are we looking at right now? Well, we are about to have the presentation of the floats in 2 minutes. I'm just kind of hovering around while we're just hanging out and chatting about movies and art and whatnot as we build. We've been hearing a little bit about Manu's experience working on Broadway. I really have not gotten to see... can I see some dancing for the last minute or so, Dottie? Yeah, so I'm going to teleport myself to Dottie. Okay, so what are we looking at, Dottie?
This is the Ziegfeld Follies. Come on in and you'll see.
Okay. So just going up here. Okay. Oh, so you've got the item frame dance sequence.
Yes. We have
Or not
Pumpkin
in-frame.
Fred Astaire and Pumpkin Gene Kelly, and they're dancing together.
Fair enough. Very cute.
I love it.
I think
Yeah,
we're...
this is probably the quickest of the 8 interiors that just to show you right ahead of time, which should be very soon.
Yeah, we've got less than a minute remaining. I am writing pencils down, and I'm ready to press enter as soon as the clock rolls over. Fred Astaire and Grian Kelly. Ah, nice. Okay, so we are almost at time. Yeah, sorry we didn't spend as much time touring around as we might sometimes. There's not really a set format for these, so it's just kind of all over the place. But I know we got to get Manu out of here. It is 1 o'clock. Pencils down. Stop building. But I know Manu has a family commitment after this, so we have got to head over to the beginning of the parade and start being showcased, or start being provided a showcase. Let's see, what is the front? Is the front by the west gate or the east gate?
You are at the front right now.
I am at the front right now. Okay. So,
All right, I'm ready. My body is ready.
the format for anybody who has not been here before for one of these is one person from each group will present. And normally, some of these are individual, some of these are group efforts, but we usually want to have one person on mic because it's easier. So who have we got first here? Looks like Superstone has Playbill Rock Island Line. Superstone, tell us what we're looking at.
Hello. Yep, this is the Rock Island train from The Music Man, in which Professor Harold Hill hatches a ride at the last second as he's being chased by angry townspeople who he has just cheated out of a lot of money. And on this train, lots of salespeople like to talk about hogsheads and demijohns and how nobody's going to patronize a little 2x4 store anymore.
Oh. So inside the train, we've got some seats here. We've got Hill on the back waving goodbye.
So cool.
Yep. And so, and let's see. I'm not super familiar with the Music Man, so I don't have any questions really. Mono, do you have any questions about the build?
The build looks like trouble.
Yes,
Trouble
you might
with
say
a capital
so.
T that rhymes with P that stands. All right, never mind.
Yeah. This looks like a train that starts with T and it rhymes with P, which is going to lead to pain if we keep going down this line.
Look at the, I love the people.
Oh, and these are the townspeople behind him chasing him. Oh, that's cute. I didn't catch that the first time.
You gotta catch all the details there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and
Love it.
just as a note for Superstone and anybody else, yeah, if I'm not looking at some part of the float that is important, definitely let me know, because Manu is not in game. He's watching the feed. So, very cool. Thank you, Superstone. Next up, we have Stellar Spider, whose float is entitled "If You Touch Me" from Cats. So Stellar Spider says, "I have a book explaining mine." Okay. If You Touch Me, inspired by the musical Cats, float by Stella. This float is based around the emotional climax of the musical Cats during the refrain of the song Memory. Grisabella, the gray cat, is an outcast from the group of stray cats, and she has spent the whole musical asking to be accepted back into the group. The mere touch from Jemima, the white cat, symbolizes her reacceptance at the end of the musical. When I first saw this musical, at the age of 13, I was also looking for acceptance and belonging in life. I now know that's why I identified so much with Grisabella. That theme of belonging runs deep in musical theater, not just the productions, but the culture around it. It's an amazing thing to celebrate, and today, we're all theater kids. Stella Spider, June 1st, 2025. So let's take a look at this. So here we see
Wow.
2 cats. So presumably the one on the left is Jezebella or Grisabella, and this is Jemima. I have not personally seen Cats. I've seen a
Well,
lot
they,
of trailers for it. I remember on PBS, they used to be like, the National Endowment for the Arts, who brought you things like Cats, is proud to present, PBS.
they nailed the outfits though.
Mm.
Like Cats was one of those, you know, Cats was one of the Cats got caught in the joke of like Phantom of the Opera, like those like cliched Broadway shows. Cats ran for what? I don't know, 18 years, some
Well, it
ridiculous number
became
of
a
years.
cliche because it was so firm in the zeitgeist.
Yes.
Where, that's the thing. It's like how Lovecraft at the time was doing something so weird, but now every single Lovecraft story is 8 different episodes of Star Trek. Like, it's been retold 1,000 times. It's set a bar that is now just where things are. So yeah,
It's amazing to put this together in an hour.
very cool. Stellar Spider. Thank you. Any final questions before we move on?
No, good.
Okay.
Nice. They have tails.
They do have tails. Yeah, I was like, let me just show the backs of the costumes as well. And I like the spotlight on the stage that the float platform is. Very cool. We are now moving on. Our next parade float is... they didn't fill out their sign. Hey, come fill out your sign. Tell me who this is. Presumably, this is Lady Oolong. Okay, Lady Oolong, what are we looking at here?
Hi.
Hi.
Well, Joe, first of all, I'm going to ask, what do you know about the show Into the Woods?
I know that they made a film version of it that my younger sister had Corinne and I watch like 7 years ago, 8 years ago. And so I vaguely recall that James Corden was in it. And I think this was before he had the baby next to him on the airplane. That's how much I know. Tell me what I should know about this.
Well, Joe, do you see that sign on the marquee there? It's a fairy tale show with Sondheim flair. It's not his birthday, but I don't care because I love this show so much. They went into the woods to find their heart's desire, but they lost the beans, and now it's quite dire because the giant's wife meets their wish backfired. The witch is mad. The baker's a single dad, and I have to resist the urge to sing because copyright strikes on YouTube are a thing. Ahem.
Yes, yes.
Most excellent. Thank you, Lady Oolong. So I'm assuming these are lyrics from the show in here.
Yes, let's go. That was awesome.
Manu, have you seen this show?
I have not, but I guess I have now.
Yeah, I feel like I've gotten the entire experience.
This is-
These are very cute little figures. So presumably this is Jack's beanstalk here.
Yeah, so Into the Woods is a fairy tale mashup for the first act, and the second act is the consequences of what happens after Happily Ever After.
Oh, sorry, I was trying to set time today, not to yell at you to stop building again.
And yeah, I did the arm stands. There's a custom heads that I painted. This was a very ambitious float for the time frame, and
Yeah.
that's
It looks great. Oh man.
Very cool. And so I'm assuming this is supposed to represent like the thing over the stage. I feel like it's got a Greek name for it. Is it the perennium?
proscenium.
Proscenium.
Yeah, it is somewhat inspired by I was looking up images of Into the Woods sets.
Very cool.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Lady Oolong, for...
Well, thanks for the rap. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was a little bit of extra flair. Now, did you write that bit about the Sondheim flair, or was that part of the original?
I made up lyrics to one of the songs from the show,
Okay.
and resisted singing the tune completely, but I had to throw in a bit there.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I can't imagine them saying Sondheim in their own lyrics. But then again, in Rent, in La Vie Boheme, they say, to Sondheim, to anything taboo. So, maybe that's just a thing after Rent came out. Everybody's like, wait, we could just put Sondheim in our lyrics? We're never going to stop doing that. Shrek opens with, him being like, get out of my Sondheim. That sort of thing. Dottie Matrix says, yes, Rent, the famous Sondheim show. I mean, I know it was Jonathan Larson, but, I'm just saying, is it okay to mention Sondheim in your lyrics? Maybe it is. Maybe Rent paved the way. So, let's see. It looks like we are going to be moving on to the Frugal Wizard's The Barricade. Frugal Wizard writes, ah, yes, this is the famous barricade from the musical Les Miserables. Here, a troop of French soldiers attacks the barricade that is held by the rebels. So here we have the rebels holding the barricade. And we got the troops advancing. Very cool. Now, I'm assuming based on the fact that this one doesn't have legs and there's red carpet there. That's that guy got chopped in half. That's eviscerated. So interesting details
Resistance.
there. Yeah, I was gonna say I actually haven't seen this one either. I'm glad you're here to help me judge this, Manu, because even if neither of us have seen a lot of these, it makes it seem less exceptional that I haven't.
There you go.
Yeah. But, you gotta keep in mind, it's really expensive to see musicals in Nashville. It's expensive in New York, too, I'm sure. But,
that's why TKTS and Theater Development Fund was formed.
Yeah, because, in New York...
But you guys don't have that.
Yeah, you guys have this lottery where you have a chance, at least, and you can maybe try your luck. But, here, it's just, I'm running a barely break-even business. I can't afford theater tickets.
Yeah.
Especially not, if I have to get a babysitter. I will say, yeah, the last show that I think I took Corinne to was right before the pandemic. She had gotten really into Alexander Hamilton, the musical or whatever. And so...
Hamilton.
Yeah, Hamilton. And so that was playing at the Tennessee Performing Arts Center. And so I got us tickets. They were basically as far back and as high up as possible. But we could afford them, and that was her Christmas and birthday present. But
yeah, and for a thing like that, it's mostly listening, right? And the music. Yeah. So
I will say when Hamilton's wife at the end points into the audience as it's it says something like it's up to you. She points very high up and toward the center, and it was directly where we were sitting. And so that was kind of funny because one of my friends was taking his parents, and so we all got tickets together. That was his Christmas present to his parents. Yeah, he elbows me. He's like, she pointed at you. It's your job to save democracy now, Joe. Good luck. I'm like, thanks, Art. I'll do what I can. Tony Matrix says that explains a lot. I mean, I am doing what I can, you guys. Doing what I can. Yeah, first forest fires, now democracy. Yeah. Oh, well. But yeah, thank you again. Let me see who this was again. This was the Frugal Wizard, The Barricade. This is very cool. Alrighty, so next up, we have Des plot epic. So I'm assuming this is Des. Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
do we have somebody named Epic who's like, is there okay, cool.
Yes, let me explain. Hello. So this parade thing is this parade float is not complete because I got very obsessed with the glasswork. However, this is inspired by Epic the musical, not something that is on Broadway, but hopes to be on Broadway someday. And it recently.
I'm not familiar with
finished.
this. Could you give us a quick?
Yes.
What's the pitch for Epic the musical?
Epic the musical is a retelling of Odysseus's The Odyssey. And this in particular is rending the scene of Odysseus leaving the island that he had been on for 7 years to once again go and try to get home after losing everything, and running into Hermes, who gives him the wind bag to help him make it home. It's representing the song "Dangerous" in Epic the musical as well.
So I remember the song "Dangerous" from the film Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Is it
I feel
comparable
like
to
this
that?
might be,
Dangerous.
just a little bit.
She's
different.
what I need. Dangerous.
Honestly, no. Maybe it's the same. Who knows?
It might just be the same song. Okay, fair enough. Okay, well, so yeah, I like, as you said, you spent a lot of time on the glasswork here. You do have the kind of Greek column vibe for the whole thing.
Yeah, I was going for a similar feel to what Lady Oolong was doing, but on the front and back. But I didn't get to it, so
Okay,
I'll complete that later.
very cool. So we've got some trees here, some scrub. I see what you mean about the glasswork on the ocean. That is a very interesting way to portray like ripples and waves. I don't think I've actually seen somebody do that in
it's
Minecraft
insane.
before. Like specifically like for a beach. Like I've seen people do all sorts of weird stuff with glass, but this specific idea of selling a coastline like this, I don't think I've seen.
Well, thank you.
So very cool. Thank you very much, Des. Let's go ahead and see what is up next. We've got Mantua Maker, tribute to playwright William Luce. And I'm guessing these are names of plays. Go ahead and tell us what we're looking at here, Mantua Maker.
Yeah, Joe. So I made a relatively simple float because it spoke a lot of the man William Luce, who I actually met in Oregon. It was a group of LGBT people that got together and hung out, and I didn't even know how famous the guy was.
Mm-hmm.
Then I found out that through a friend who had seen the Gabriel's Daughter musical, that oh, this guy is famous. And then I looked a little further, and he wrote 2 plays that won Tonys for the actors. One being Belle of Amherst, which I am portraying here with the float, because it's a one-woman play, very simple. That's the reason the float is so simple. It's just to say it's really about the person. I'm going through Emily Dickinson's life, through her poems and things like that. It's an awesome play, available online if you ever wanted to check it out. And then the other famous one that won a Tony is Barrymore, which was John Barrymore, played by Christopher Plummer. And the last one that was nominated for Tony was Lucifer's Child. So that's why I chose this, was, somebody I knew, and how it was one thing, the white banners on the wheels are intentional. William Luce told a story about how he wrote one of his songs, which is he heard a bicycle ride by with the cards in the tires. And then that rhythm got stuck in his head, and he had to run to the piano and play it. So it just says how amazing these talented people are.
Gotcha. He's got that intuitive knack. He just hears the music.
Yep.
Very cool. I'm gonna admit this is
Very
not
cool.
a playwright I was familiar with. Manu, have you seen any of these?
No, I'm not familiar.
Well, I always appreciate folks bringing their personal experiences. Like we were saying earlier, there's just so much art out there in the world that you might never stumble across something. But yeah, William Luce is a name I will now remember. And if, I happen to see anything, even though the big theaters in town, like, do more like, they're bringing in Hamilton and stuff. There's a bunch of small theaters too, some of which survived the pandemic. Unfortunately, a lot of that has been kind of struggling, but over the summer when my kid is away, it's a little bit easier for me to get out because I don't have to worry about babysitting and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll keep an eye out for local productions of William Luce plays. Thank you very much, Mantua.
Thank you.
And down here at the end, is this our last float? It might be. Nope, we got 2 more. Okay. So good. We are well on schedule for getting Manu and his kids out the door. So tell us what we're looking at here. Kindle us.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Manu. I was going to make a float for 12 Angry Men because I think it's an awesome play. But throwing down 12 armor stands in a room with no way to get out seemed like a not good idea. So instead, I just made a bone meal farm for Dottie so she'd stop stealing my bone meal from storage.
Okay. So it's got the Theater Kids logo on it. Does this look anything like a Tony Award? I don't know what a Tony Award looks like, but I'm assuming
looks
no.
like how I picture a Tony Award should look like.
But maybe we should.
Does not.
Neither of us have Googled this, so presumably it does not look like a Tony Award.
Yeah, I'm correct until you use Google.
Okay. Yeah, that was what, I remember one time Manu asked Surreal, Surreal, are you familiar with the work of this one director? And he goes, yes, as long as there are no follow-up questions. Oh, I realize I've had setting up stream now on the whole time. Sorry, guys.
But no, we spent the whole week building Rocky Horror Picture Show, which hopefully you've seen.
I have not.
You should see it before Manu starts making fun of you for that.
Well, the problem is that they do a big showing of it at the Belcourt Theater here every Halloween, and I really want to see it for the first time, in the theater with all the people. But my schedule just keeps not lining up because it's Halloween and, we have other obligations. So it's yeah, I could go see it on VHS, but it would be...
Oh, it's on DVD and Blu-ray now.
Well...
And probably Disney Plus if you want to give Disney more money.
I don't. But, yeah, I don't know. So it's just been one of those things where I'm I know they show it every year in the movie theater here, at the nonprofit movie theater. So I'm I'm just going to go.
You should do that.
Yeah.
When
this year, Joe, they might actually start taking it out of theaters.
Wait, what was that about taking it out of theaters?
Well, it's been in theaters for 50 years. They might stop one day.
I mean, they haven't yet. They're running it every
as long as people don't run out of toast, I think they can maybe keep running it.
So I don't know. It's definitely in my queue, but it's in my queue as a go see it on film experience.
Well, I'll just ask you about it next year and the year after that and the year after that.
Yeah.
One day you'll be like, yes, I did see it. Stop asking me.
No, but the problem is we keep getting invited to stuff on Halloween that's the priority.
Perhaps you could say, well, why don't you guys come with me to see Rocky Horror Picture Show at the Belcourt, and maybe their plans will become your plans.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. My kid is almost old enough that I could let her go stay at a friend's overnight on Halloween. That's the other thing, too, is it's, hard to... I don't know that this would be appropriate to bring, a 6-year-old to. But either my kid will get old enough to come with me, or my kid will get old enough to go somewhere else without having to hire a babysitter. So, I don't know. Yeah. Because, babysitting is not cheap. And as you can tell by the rotational tips, this is... tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. But this has not been a great month for revenue so far. It's only day 1, but I'm optimistic. Okay. So, yeah, thank you, Kindleus. Alpacatastic has our final float of the parade. TK in the park. Presumably that's short for Theater Kids in the park. So
yes, it is.
Tell us what we're looking at here, Alpacatastic.
Yeah, so I honestly had a really hard time coming up with an idea for this parade. So I decided to go a little bit literal with the theater kids theme, and kind of combine it with the idea of like Shakespeare in the Park or other, park-based productions like that. So I planned this float out ahead of time as far as like the basic, structure of it, but then just kind of winged it with the armor stands and kind of let the story unfold as I put everything together. So basically what we have here is just some kids putting on a play for their parents, and they have a couple of sets in the background, and I guess they're the story is somebody's attacking the castle, and the kids are having to defend and that sort of a thing.
So is it
Yeah.
Macbeth? Is it? Do you have any particular castle? Is this Dunsinane here? Like, well,
I don't have anything particular in mind. It's just whatever the kids want it to be.
fair enough. Well, we'll let the children boogie. Manu, any thoughts or questions?
I was like, of course they're all armed, because any kid that's
Yeah.
going to put on anything is going to be like, let's get the swords out.
Yeah, I do think this is not going to count against you on the judging, but just sometimes when I look at some of these builds, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no way I could ever build this. But sometimes I look at this stuff and I'm like, okay, this is kind of in my lane. And if I was going to do something like this, though, I would have had all of the parents holding up little phones. Because whenever, like, you go to an event like this and, like, half the parents are just, like, constantly filming their kids. I've gotten in the habit of trying to sit in the back row. So that way, I only pull out my phone briefly, like, when my kid is, like, doing something on stage. But then I can, like, then I don't have to stress out about, like, ruining somebody else's experience behind me, Because I don't even want to take out my phone otherwise. Like, I feel like it's, like, rude, even though everybody else is doing it. But
yeah, no, that's a good note that I'm surprised I didn't think about, because my dad very much was the type to always film everything.
oh yeah, it's amazing, like, how phones have changed, like, school theater events and stuff, little musical bits and things. But yeah, that's just a little something that jumped into my head. Not anything you're getting dinged for, obviously, but very cool, Alpaca-tastic. Yeah, I like the setup. You got the little stage with little supports. You got the supports behind the framing of the sets.
It's awesome.
Very cool. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do in game. I need to get myself a jukebox and a music disc so I can play some music for y'all. I am going to, like, Bono and I are gonna leave the group chat here, and I'm gonna call him separately on my phone so that the audio doesn't go out through YouTube, because I've learned how this works now. And we're gonna go through the entries and judge, and so yeah, we will go ahead and be right back. So disconnecting here, muting on YouTube. Chat, we are muting over here. Dottie Matrix says we can hear you. Wait, could you hear me the whole time? I shouldn't have been.
No, I came in and said testing 1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, so we are back. Back. As always, it is not easy to judge these contests because so many folks are so talented here on the server. Like, we do these as a contest to encourage friendly competition, but always when judging, it is a challenge to pick 3 best. So yeah, Manu, do you have any words before we start announcing?
I'm honored again, Joe, for you to ask me. Even if that was short notice, I cleared my schedule just enough to get in this done because I come here and I see this is, and I'm not even BSing. This is some high level. Like, you guys got it down, like how to build stuff and how to make it not make the engine and everything not a barrier to your creativity. It is just blonde, brunette, redhead, right?
Minecraft as a medium. Yeah, you're seeing beyond the code.
This is yeah. So thank you guys so much. This is an honor to be. I don't even want to say judging. Just to see your stuff is so cool. Thank you.
And as always, thanks to Manu for joining us to judge. I have posted again twitch.tv/mpt3k if you want to check out Manu's work in the future. Manu, your stream schedule, your Friday night streams are the ones I usually raid, but you also stream throughout the week. Do you mind going over your schedule real quick before we announce the winners?
Yeah, it's like I only have one other day now, which is Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Where I stream virtual pinball. I've lost the Thursday location stream for a while. It will come back maybe after the summer. And if you want to listen to me DJ, I actually have a DJ channel separate from MPT3K. It's DJ MPT3K.
I'm going to post that link. 1 second.
That happens on Sundays. Actually, that'll be today at 2 p.m.
Hey.
where we're doing a tribute to the Jackson family, which I'm going to have fun with because I get to play Michael Jackson, Marlon Jackson, Tito Jackson, Reby Jackson, Latoya Jackson, Jermaine Jackson. Who else? Janet Jackson.
Wow.
Yeah.
Got any Jesse Jackson political speeches in there?
You got the joke before I...
Oh, was that where you were going next?
I was trying, but did it fail?
Yeah, because as you're listing that, I'm like, he's gonna slip Jesse in there. He's gonna slip him in, and then you didn't, and I was like, okay.
Well, maybe I can play some Joe Jackson. Stepping out, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's also Shoeless Joe Jackson, who's been recently reinstated, along with Pete Rose, into Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, now that they're friends with the gambling industry again. Oh, boy, Field of Dreams hits different. Okay. So anyway, y'all, we had such a great time reviewing everything. All your builds were spectacular. Thank you for sharing them with us. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start with third place, which is the Frugal Wizards, The Barricade. So, Mono, you want to talk a little bit briefly about The Barricade?
Yeah, this... So this is a great execution on a concept. It was already like, I was already like kind of in love with it. And then I didn't notice, but Joe pointed out the dead. Oh my God, there's a dead dude in the back. I only saw the dead dude in the front.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is kind of what a float. Then, so what did you say, Joe? The guys in the front would have to be simulating walking forwards, but walking backwards.
Yeah. So one of the things I love about this is, so this is clearly like a rolling float where you would have like a little driver, a little cabin with a driver in here driving the barricade forward. And then you'd have this line of attackers, quote unquote, who are basically moonwalking. They're pretending they're walking forward while they're walking backward, or, that might be reverse moonwalking. I don't, but you know what I mean? Like these guys who are ostensibly attacking the barricade would have this thing continually approaching them, but they're supposed to seem like they're approaching it. That's a really neat conceit for a float. Seeing that coming down the street would be pretty cool.
I'm wondering if it was just an oversight, because you could just turn the front part around and have the taggers walk forward.
You could, but the thing is, though, but the thing is, though, you want the defenders, who are the heroes of the story, facing forward,
right?
And so I think this is actually the way to do it,
right.
But Bill Pullman in the YouTube chat says the original staging of Les Mis has a revolving stage, and they use a lot of moving backwards to appear moving forwards. See, I didn't know that. But that's actually really cool. Okay, so you're also resonating with the staging or a common staging technique for the play. So, okay. So to the Frugal Wizard, Dottie, did you have any special particular prizes that you wanted as a Theater Kids Choice thing here?
Well, I mean, light blocks are always good so that the lights never go out on Broadway.
That sounds fantastic to me. So I'm going to /give Frugal Wizard light Minecraft light 64. And we're also just gonna, for everybody who showed up today, everybody's gonna get 8 light blocks. Real quick.
You get a light block, and you get a...
Yeah, these are not available in the game normally. You can't harvest these. These are only dispensable by admins. So, yeah. So everybody, just for showing up, gets 8 light blocks. We got 64 going to the Frugal Wizard. And so, Manu, for reference, what those do is, normally in Minecraft, you have to place lanterns or torches to light up an area. But those light blocks are invisible unless you're holding one in your hand. And they just allow you to create ambient light in-game.
So it's basically a point light? It's just a point light?
Yeah. And it'll...
Or an ambient light.
It prevents mobs from spawning, and it also, will light your build. Invisible torch, Kindle calls it. Yeah. And you can click on them to adjust the brightness of them. So they're good for doing specialized builds where you want to have something look a certain way and not have to worry about monsters. Oh, that only works in creative. Good to know. Okay. Moving on. Manu, number 2 was?
Number 2 was... Oh, yeah, Rock Island Float.
Woo. So that was Super
That's what's
Stone.
trouble. I told you it was trouble.
Yep. So, Manu, you want to talk a little bit about why this was your number 2 choice?
This was my number 2 choice because, well, I was familiar with the Music Man. I appreciated the kind of the detail of the people chasing, and it's floaty, right? It's a float. So the train can move, and I'm imagining, the music coming out and like other people in the car like waving and stuff. I feel like it's kind of like a Disney float.
Yeah, you could see this coming down the street and it would feel fun.
Yeah, and it'd be like lots of parade music and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And so I have awarded 128 light blocks to Superstone. Congratulations, Superstone.
Dang.
And for
Make
our
it rain,
first
Joe.
place, I know, making it rain light. We were talking about how, some parade floats, they have somebody like, they'll have musical guests coming out and singing. And so normally when we're grading these things, the presentation component where the person is explaining it isn't necessarily part of the judging directly. But like Lady Oolong's little bit there could have been performed on stage on this float. Like the whole thing is set up to support it. And so in this specific case, that was a little bit of a factor. Do you want to talk, Manu, about your thoughts on this float?
Yeah, I felt like it was a factor, although it's like a cowbell. You don't want to hear it, you just want to feel it. It's a weird analogy, but when they did the little, ditty, it really kind of cemented everything else. But I gotta say, the facade here, what was the Greek word for it?
Proscenium?
Proscenium is excellent, and it's viewable from both sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've got the beanstalk that actually goes up past the proscenium, like it would in a theater, past the curtains. So it looks like it's just continuous. And just a thought, it's definitely built with a love of the theme, like a real, like, not to say anyone else didn't have a love of the theme, but this was just like a kind of a almost venturing on scary love of the theme.
No lies detected.
Which is the best kind.
Yeah.
Passion,
I realized I
let's
hadn't
say.
restarted my screen share, so now, Manu, you can see the screen share again. But yeah.
I was watching on the stream, actually.
Okay, yeah, 15 seconds delayed, and then you have to look at me. But, yeah. So, Scary of Level of Passion in good company here, writes Dottie Matrix. So, yes, congratulations to Lady Oolong, who's going to receive 256 light blocks.
Congratulations.
Woo!
Thank you.
Super well done, everyone. Such incredible fun. Thank you for sharing all sorts of plays and stuff that I never heard of. We never heard of Epic. We didn't know who William Luce was.
William Luce, yeah.
Y'all are enriching
I'm
us.
looking that up. Yeah.
And Joe, if I've inspired you to see the show, look for the 80s cast recording of the show, not the Disney version, because the Disney version rushes through a lot of the second act.
80s cast recording of Into the Woods?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that old. I thought it was... Okay. Yeah, I've only seen the Disney version, I think. And I was kind of half watching it while my kid watched it, but... Okay.
There's a lot of Epic fans in here. You
Apparently,
gotta check that out too.
yeah, I didn't even know that existed. So yeah, I am not in the musical theater world. This is the sort of thing. Who knows a lot about this stuff is Goran and Kelly.
Yes, Goran, definitely.
I feel stupid now for not inviting them to join us for this.
Oh, that would have been, well, next time.
Next time, yeah, because this was hopefully a fun enough theme. Just send them the VOD. Hey guys, we had a party without you. You want to watch a video of it? That's not gonna happen. But yeah, no, they're great. But yeah, this has been really fun. Thank you everybody for joining us. Manu, I know you've got a family commitment and you've got to go. Once again, folks can find Manu at twitch.tv/mpt3k and at twitch.tv/djmpt3k. Once again, that next DJ stream is this afternoon, you said, 2 p.m. Pacific?
Yeah, 2 p.m. Pacific. And thank you, Joe. I am actually going to head out. Thank you, everyone. Love you all. Hope to see you back here again. Hope to see you in the theater. And have a great day.
Woo! Thanks again, Manu. Have fun with your family. Bye. Stream, don't leave. That's not the end of the stream. That's just Manu departing. We got a little bit of, let's see, stuff to do before we wind down. Just as a reminder, if you want to hang out with this cool Discord community, which I am grateful for every day. $5 a month gets you on the Discord. $10 a month gets you on the Minecraft servers. If you want to know when I'm streaming next, my stream schedule is always available at joehills.net/soon. If you're like, Joe, what happened? There was no Frankenstein stream last night. I'm confused. We did the Frankenstein video earlier this week, and you can always find the latest novel reading streams. Welcome to this. Let me, if I can find how to share a playlist. This seems like the sort of thing I would know how to do. Whatever. Are these out of order? Maybe. Great. I'm gonna have to figure out how to edit the playlist to be in the right order because I think it's playing in reverse order. Womp womp. Okay. But if I wanted to link you to that playlist, I could do that via this link, which is definitely playing them backwards. Oh my gosh. Well, whatever. Okay, there's the Frankenstein playlist. Okay. So, we also want to once again thank Dottie Matrix. Dottie, any final stuff? We had to, sorry we didn't get to see all the interiors because we had to rush to get Manu out the door. Is there any last minute stuff that you'd feel like we were remiss if we didn't visit before we wrap up?
Oh goodness, there's so much. It's like choosing between my children. I will be here to host run-throughs for anybody who is here after the stream if you'd like to come through. Into the Woods is a bit long, Gray. I don't know how much time Joe has.
I have another 15 minutes blocked out for this. So, what do you think?
Then by all means, come see Into the Woods.
What would you like to share? Okay. So, where is Into the Woods on the street here?
You can teleport to me if you'd like.
Okay. And while I prepare to do that, just as a reminder, last call for tips. We're going to hang out for another 15 minutes or so. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. If anybody was waiting to tip because they didn't want to give the impression that I was playing favorites, now is a great time to do it. Okay. So, Dottie, what are we looking at here? Whoa. Oh, my gosh. Why did I fly so fast? Am I... Okay. There we go. Whoa.
So the first thing I'd like to point out is this artwork. The theater is named after Al Hirschfeld, the famous caricaturist.
Mm-hmm.
This is a caricature he did in 1987 of the original cast of Into the Woods.
Wow. That's very cool.
Put together by Mantua Maker. Thank you.
Excellence at work. Very cool. So, yeah, let's go ahead and show me around, I guess.
Well, I would recommend reading the book first because there are instructions. Into the Woods is a mini escape room. So once we are in, it will lock behind you.
Oh, no. Okay. Yeah. I might have time for an escape room, but you guys might have to solve the puzzles. My brain is kind of melted at this point. So
no trouble. We got you, Joe.
This is a game. Please remove all gear and items before entering the game. It will close behind you. Only food permitted in the building. The build is safe, but you cannot leave until you complete the game. In order to appease the witch, you must find the following. The cape is red as blood, the hair is yellow as corn, the slippers poor as gold, and feed them to a cow as white as milk. Only then can you enter the castle and enjoy your happily ever after. In theory, anyway, good luck. Okay, so my inventory...
Joe, don't worry about it. We got you.
Yeah. I was gonna say I'm not gonna be able to pick anything up. I've got a bunch of like command blocks and special books and stuff. We're not gonna store. So yeah, you guys. So okay, so we enter. This is very cool, little enchanted forest type vibe. Is enchanted forest a word or a combination of words from the Brothers Grimm, or is that a later like Disney era innovation?
Very good question. I'd have to go look that up later.
Because I look at this and go, oh, this is an enchanted forest. But like, why do I think that?
It is meant to feel enchanted and magical and wish granting in a way.
So this is very cool. There's like a large skull yak thing. Maybe that's a cow. Maybe that's... Yeah, that makes sense. That's probably a cow.
Perhaps a cow as white as milk.
Oh, wait, so did I find a cow as white as milk?
You did find the cow as white as milk. Good job.
Woo!
Now, we do need to feed the cow as white as milk 3 different items.
Oh, yeah.
That are each associated with different fairy tales.
Gotcha.
You may have spotted some sets in here that are related to various fairy tales.
Okay. So, this is the castle, and so presumably it's locked until we find the other
That is correct.
items. Okay, so we need cape as red as blood, corn as yellow as hay.
The hair is yellow as
thing.
corn.
Yeah, what was the comedy third thing?
Slipper as pure as gold.
Slipper as pure as gold?
Yes. In the original, Cinderella's shoes were gold.
Ah. So Alpacatastic says, I have the red cape and the yellow hair. Ah. Okay, so these are banners then. Oh, that's cool. Des says, I think you might have the slipper, Joe. I would be... Does creative mode inventory just pick up stuff even when it's full?
Oops.
Yes, and deletes it.
And Alyssa, you have a backup, right?
Okay. Yeah, sorry,
I came
guys.
prepared for this. Don't worry.
Yeah, I filled my inventory so I wouldn't accidentally pick up stuff. So... Enchanted used to have a more negative connotation. Yeah, because we used to think that witches were bad. And then Roald Dahl wrote The Witches, and then we all felt better.
Well, if we have all 3 items, we can go ahead and feed them to the cow.
Okay. So do you toss them onto the dirt there?
Yeah, it's right on the path block. The one in front of the cow, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Which one did Joe wipe out? Slippers?
Sounds like the slipper, yeah.
Sorry.
That's quite all right. We have backups for a reason.
Okay.
And then we get milk.
And then do you throw the milk at the entrance? I'm
Yes,
trying to
you do.
stay back so I don't accidentally pick up anything else. Very cool. Ooh. Happily ever after.
Or so you think. The entirety of Act 2 of Into the Woods is about how going and getting your dreams and taking actions has, consequences.
Oh no.
So, if the first act was the effing around, this is the finding out.
Gotcha.
You'll see that there are some really giant footprints in the ground. That's because the giant from the Jack and the Beanstalk has come through and crushed a lot of stuff.
Ooh. So we've got a golden harp here.
Yes. Stolen from the giants by Jack himself. It's true, Grandma's house did gain a new bed. Riding Hood moved in there. Unfortunately, it lost about a wall and a half.
Oh no. So presumably there are like banners or something, or a button you press to get things.
Oh, no, this is just the find out stage. You look around.
Oh, okay. There's not like a puzzle to this.
Nope, the puzzle is just the first half.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you just go. Ah. Got it. Okay. That's cool. The entranceway is now reset. Thank you, Condolus.
If you've got room for one more, Joe, I'd recommend Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark? Is there a Spider-Man musical?
Yes. It premiered in 2011, directed by Julie Taymor. The music was written by U2's folks, Bono and The Edge. Of course, about everyone's favorite neighborhood Spider-Man. It had a lot of things going for it, and it really should have been a success. About that.
I was gonna say, they were making fun of this in Venture Brothers, I think, but I didn't realize it was real. I thought they were, like, making up a musical. Okay.
Well, making fun of it is the correct take.
Gotcha.
So the show had the most expensive budget ever on Broadway, $75 million. It had the longest preview period in Broadway history, about 3 months, where it suffered rewrite after rewrite after rewrite. This entire book has too many cooks in it. And the actors kept getting hurt. There were 6 major, like, career-ending injuries because, you know, they actually have Spider-Man slinging around the stage. So the show closed after only about 187 shows.
Okay. So it is dark in here. Enter at your own risk. Do you have to drop? Okay.
I'm
Are
gonna let
those
Kindles
armor
lead the way on this one.
stands? How do you what are you
Those are
calling?
armor stands.
Okay. So is this a wedding chapel?
It is. It is also the beginning of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
When
Okay.
Spider-Man closed, we had to put another a show in here last minute.
Okay. So we got a dark tunnel. Oh, this is very comfortable. This feels like a build that I would do.
What? A giant hole underground? You've
Yeah,
never
I
built
know.
that.
I know. Shulkers everywhere. Okay, so I was gonna say I don't know how much this is gonna be visible to the people at home, because YouTube and Twitch compression doesn't do great with darkness. But
I'm watching it on Twitch, and it's looking clear enough.
let me see if I can turn up my brightness at all. Okay. So yeah, what are we looking at here?
This is the castle where the movie takes.
It's a
And that-
Spider-Man movie that takes place in a castle?
No, this is Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, Spider-Man got canceled.
Okay, I don't think I did not understand what was going on here. Didn't we already do Rocky Horror Picture Show?
We did, but
I feel
we
like you
made
guys
it
walked
better
me
this
through
time.
this. Is this the same build, or did you rebuild it from scratch in a different place?
We took the design that Dottie started with and then finished all the other scenes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, this
But
place
we're
is a
gonna do the
labyrinth that even I
cheating
have a hard
quick
time
route
with.
because you have 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
So we use nether portal sorcery, so you can go to multiple different lab sets if you go through the portals.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually you see different versions of the same build, same rooms, because they, change throughout the movie.
Interesting.
So that's Dr. Frankenfurter's lab.
Oh, these are cool little pixel art. The idea of having these... The recessing of that is interesting. That's a choice.
Yeah. It's transparent maps on tinted glass with frog lights behind it.
Yeah, very cool. And then up here... Very neat. And then we go back through the portal again?
Yeah, back through the portal. There's an elevator in the movie, so every time you go through the portal, they went up and down the elevator.
Gotcha. So I'm assuming that you're doing something to unlight and auto-light different entrances and exits or something somehow?
No, I put my portal coordinates into an Excel spreadsheet and just made sure they linked up in the exact way I wanted.
Interesting. So you can stair-step your portals if you do them a certain way.
Yeah, like this portal goes back and forth, but the portal in the room above it, which is another lab build, it goes out to a whole other castle build that then repeats.
Okay. Wow.
So I think I've got 3 different portals linking back and forth in different patterns.
Interesting. And so we're back where we started.
So this is the starting area, right?
Okay. So we're going upstairs now?
Yeah, and we go up the stairs to the bedrooms our heroes are taken to, separately.
Oh, that's cool. So it's like... wait, when you say look through the doors, am I not supposed to go in?
Well, the effect is better if you're, like, peeking through the window.
Gotcha. Very cool.
But then you come out to another lab, which is the same, but slightly different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see that ice wall is gone.
And then through this portal, it takes us to, like, the dinner party.
Okay.
So we're now in the nether again.
Okay. Which way are we supposed to be going?
We're supposed to go back upstairs, but we're going to cut it short and just go back through this portal.
Okay. Radio picture.
So this is the pool party right at the end of the film.
Okay. Very cool.
The exit is through the pool, because that's kind of how the movie ends.
Ah. Ah, yeah, I see how you guys have multiple layers of labs, main building. Oh, that's all very cool. Okay. And it's
But this is how we managed to go from, people saying, oh, you must be using command blocks to teleport around, and it's no, just portal tricks.
Mm-hmm. Bell Pullman says this makes more sense if you know the movie. One day I will know the movie. Hasn't happened yet. Very, very cool. Well, thank you, Kindleus, for showing us that. Thank you again to Dottie Matrix and everyone else who contributed to this build. Dottie listed, I believe, 12 people at least earlier. I can't remember all the names.
And if you look at the maps everywhere, there's well over 1,000 maps in this area.
Wow. Yeah, that tracks. Dottie Matrix says 20 people actually worked on this, including myself. Yeah, I saw there's a little Quinn Hills Theater here. Real quick, let me mention... I don't know if anybody saw, but Quinn actually recently posted a tour schedule. And I thought that I had reshared that on Blue Sky. Is that gone now?
You did reshare it on Blue Sky.
Why can't... I'm not sure why I can't see it. Let me get my laptop out. For some reason, it's not showing up on the desktop, and the desktop can't log into most of my things. Bum, bum, bum. Quinn just added a Philadelphia show as well. Ah, here's the... Okay, so it's just quinnhills.net/shows. I'm going to post that in our live event chat here, and then I'm going to grab that and move that over to the other ones. So if you want to check out my sister Quinn's upcoming shows, you can do that at quinnhills.net/shows. It is a pretty big tour. Quinn's first tour at this scale. And upcoming shows. June 7th at Washington, D.C. June 8th in Brooklyn, New York. June 11th in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. June 15th in Atlanta, Georgia. June 17th in Knoxville, Tennessee. June 20th in Nashville, Tennessee. Just as a quick note, normally I stream after dinner on my birthday. I am not going to be streaming after dinner on my birthday. We will have a birthday stream before dinner, and then I'm going to go have dinner with Badger and some friends, and we're going to go to Quinn's show. So, and some more dates may be coming soon. So keep an eye out. What kind of music? Quinn does all sorts of music. I think when we've worked on stuff together, it usually ends up being classified as folk because we're both kind of the sort of artists that make whatever we want. And so people are just like, I don't know, that's just some folks making music. One of Quinn's albums, Quinn's most recent album is Ignore All Previous Instructions. Quinn is only going to be doing solo music. If you go to one of these shows, don't expect to hear any of the Redacted Hills Sings Joe Hills stuff. It's not that kind of gig. But yeah, if you enjoy Quinn's music on my streams, and you want to see Quinn perform in person, quinnhills.net/shows would be how to do it. Okay.
You want to fly, sorry, Joe, to the other end of that street?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's some fantastic art by Dottie just above the Radio City Music Hall wall.
Okay, give me a second. I'm flying.
Wrong end.
Wait, so you're saying right where I was all the way back there?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay. You're saying like this inner go left. Okay. Oh, hey, that's some pretty cool stuff.
So actual Radio City Music Hall has these roundels on the side for drama, dance, and comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So I recreated them in the Hermit's images.
Interesting. So that's me and presumably Zombie Cleo there.
With the rainbow you built for them in season 7.
Excellent. And then it looks like maybe Scar and Cub and King Ren.
Yes, King Ren flanked by the convex is the perfect symbol for drama.
Indeed. And then over here we have, it looks like Birdman and somebody with maracas. No, I'm just kidding. It's Grian and Mumbo. What are those maracas? I don't know what those are.
I really poorly did some redstone torches. It's fine.
Oh, redstone torches. I think it's because they're not red. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, they looked really weird when I was doing them in red. Like, if you actually look at the redstone torch, it's got a lot of, like,
It's
orange
like a light
and white
pink.
in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. Very cool. Well, thank you very much, Dottie. But yeah, let's real quick, one more quick glance at the Quinn Hills Theater. Is there anything in this one?
The facade there is the actual New York City Hard Rock Hotel.
Gotcha.
So I figured the best thing to put there was the Quinn Hills Cafe.
Very cool.
Yeah, every single one of these buildings is a real building. Most of them in New York City. Only 2 of them are trolling from Toronto because sometimes things filmed that are set in New York City are actually filmed in Toronto. So 2 of the skyscrapers are Toronto.
Gotcha. Well, this all looks just absolutely fantastic. Thank you again to Dottie and everyone else who worked on putting this together. Thanks again to Manu. Once again, twitch.tv/mpt3k and twitch.tv/djmpt3k. Manu had to head out because of family plans. It was really cool of him to make the time to come hang out with us, and hope you go check out his work in the future. All right. I think... is there anything else that we need to cover before we go? I was trying to wrap up at 2, and we're now at 10 past. So.
Oh, yeah, there's plenty more to see, but I shouldn't keep you here. Thank you so much for coming today. This has been wonderful.
Well, thank you so much again. Let's go ahead, and it looks like longtime friend of the show, NJ Coffee Junkie, who is also my project manager, is playing Sagrada right now. We're going to go ahead and /raid NJ Coffee Junkie. Sagrada is a stained glass window game. Now, here's the thing, is NJ actually might be playing Sagrada with other people we know in a Discord that I have access to. So I might be able to go in there and scream howdy y'all Joe Hills right here. But I've got I'm a member of 800 Discords, and I'm not sure if I can find it in a reasonable amount of time. Okay. No, it doesn't look like NJ's in a group chat. Oh, well, we tried. We tried. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills for Nashville, Tennessee.